And today we're going to talk about the technique of trompe l'oeil in fashion. Trompe l'oeil is a French word that means deceiving the eye, a technique that plays with our perceptions of what fashion is and what it can be. Franco Moschino exploited trompe l'oeil's potential for humor. Known as witty and whimsical, Moschino thought that fashion should be fun. He viewed trompe l'oeil detailing as a way to introduce novelty as well as humor into a garment. He's shown this by putting his own initials on a Louis Vuitton styled bag, and by designing a Chanel style suit, which he replaced the traditional gold chain belt with the embroidered words, "This is a waste of money." He poked fun at his Italian ethnicity by embroidering clothing with trompe l'oeil spaghetti stains, proclaiming, "Sorry, I'm Italian." To understand the real power of trompe l'oeil, we can go back to the 19th century. Back then, fashion was a class system in itself. You could be a part of the few that were able to wear luxury, or you could wear something that looked like luxury. Trompe l'oeil was the art of creating realistic illusions on fabric that gave the wearer the appearance of wealth, even if they couldn't afford the real thing. So there are two sides of trompe l'oeil in fashion: the surrealist side and the self reflective side. The surrealist side is all about creating illusion and playing with reality to surprise. And the self reflective side uses illusions to make us question fashion itself, challenging traditional ideas about how clothing should look or function. One of the earliest and most iconic examples of this is the Schiaparelli sweater, the bow tie sweater. And this design is a cool example of how the surreal side and the self-reflective sides of trompe l'oeil show itself. At first, it looks like a sweater with a bow on the front, but when you look closer, the bow is just an illusion. Schiaparelli was playing with the idea of rejecting and embracing a fashion detail. A bow on a regular sweater doesn't make sense and can get in the way. But by keeping a bow and like printing it on a sweater without the actual physical tie, she was able to make a sweater that critiqued itself and the times. Anne Hollander, a fashion historian, pointed out that many details in fashion, like bows, which were once practical, stick around in fashion simply because they look good. A more recent take on trompe l'oeil is from Spencer Badou's knitted uniform polo. Badou's design plays with illusion, but with a more streetwear vibe. The sweater features a necktie print on the front, and it's a nod to the surreal and self-reflective nature of trompe l'oeil. This top gained a lot of attention when ASAP Rocky wore it. Spencer's tie knit sweater plays on our expectations of menswear and dressing up by raising questions about what defines a garment's function. Is it the materials or the way it looks? The printed tie plays with this idea by giving the appearance of a more formal piece while remaining casual. So I've always been really drawn to trompe l'oeil in fashion, but upon studying more of it, I realized that researchers have already broken it down into four categories. One of the most interesting ways it's used is by applying body images to clothing. You can think about how a design might show the chest area either through print or mimicking the body underneath the clothes, like the imprint. Like Walter Van Beardenach's Finally Chest Hair shirt from the Wild and Lethal Trash collection in '96. This shirt mimics thick chest hair printed on the garment with a quote on the back that reads "Finally chest hair." Van Beardenach combines humor and cultural commentary, inviting viewers to think about how identity and self-expression intersects with fashion. Jean Paul Gaultier, his body prints from the '90s are probably the most recognizable and iconic of this example. You also have Y Project that had a collab with him recently that revisited this idea of the body print on clothes. Next, we have deconstructing clothing forms or the creation methods. This approach plays with the basic structure of garments, flipping our expectations and redefining what we consider complete in fashion. An example of this is the Mason Margiela 1997 collection. This collection in particular exposed the hidden process of garment construction by using materials like pattern paper as surface fabric, showcasing basting stitches and making shoulder pads visible.
Martin Margiella's collection told a story of fashion's deconstruction. His signature accessories of hoof footwear and wigs made from recycled fur added to the abstract mix of line, texture, and color. His continuing fascination with technique was demonstrated by his theme of the unfinished tailored jacket, complete with basting and pattern paper. This, mixed with wearable separates, proved that the high priest of the avant-garde was in rare form this season.
Instead of using regular textiles, the fabric came from the linen used on the dressmaker dummies. Margiela created garments that felt like they were still works in progress, tricking the eye into seeing the unfinished as intentional and artistic. He brings up this question of what makes a garment complete, what separates functional elements from decorative ones. Margiela blurred those lines, turning traditional utilitarian components into wearable pieces. Next, we have reproducing apparel details. And this is a very common trompe l'oeil effect as it shows details of clothing that don't exist on the actual garment, but they're put on the garment through printing or embroidery. There's a Dries collection called Salvador Dali on the Beach, which used trompe l'oeil to recreate the details of a bullfighter's jacket. Instead of using actual jacket materials, he relied on embroidery techniques to mimic things like sleeve ends and fastenings. This level of detail made it feel like you were looking at a real jacket, even though it was all just an illusion. In Martin Margiela's 1996 photo print collection included a piece with the illusion of a gown printed on a plain jersey top and skirt. But this garment again plays with the viewer's expectations and raises questions about the function of fashion and dressing up. My favorite pair of pants right now are these ones from 424, and they're made of full leather, but the wash and like patina on them are made to mimic jeans. One of the most elaborate takes on this trend comes from Bottega Veneta. The former creative director Matthew Blase opened the show in 2022 with a tank top and jeans. But what made it so special and interesting was that the jeans were made entirely of leather. So, lastly, we have realistic patterns, and advances in technology have led creating optical illusions by printing the texture of something on materials. And it visually confuses which part is the clothing and which part is the actual environment. Seen by Alexander McQueen in 2010. This collection really used trompe l'oeil by matching the patterns on the clothes to the background um, of the stage. One of my favorite brands, obviously Balenciaga, and not because of it's just like a buzzword, but the actual like vision that Demna has, and Demna really uses subversion and trompe l'oeil in his work. For example, the summer 2025, the opening looks featured skin tone bodysuits with lingerie printed on them, and I had to actually watch it a couple times when I first saw it to actually get that they were bodysuits and not the match like the actual skin color of the models. Because accessories also use trompe l'oeil with the pieces like the leather shoebox clutch from the spring 2025 collection and the heel and 9 a.m. clutch from the fall 2024. The leather trash bag from the 360 Snow Show in fall 2022 was also really good. Demna's earlier creations, such as the trompe l'oeil sweatpants from the fall winter 2021. But you also have the iconic 7 layer jacket from 2018. Um, this really plays on Demna's way of modernizing the Balenciaga house codes. The cocoon shape is one of Balenciaga's house codes. It's just updated in like a 21st century way with like the layers. It's actually one piece. It's actually just one jacket. So yeah, in conclusion, Trump Lloyd shows us that things may not be what they always appear. Hopefully, you like this video.